Hello, crafty friends. How's everybody doing today? I just wanted to spend a little time today showing you guys how we make our journal clusters. So these are fabric and lace clusters for your journals. First off, these are just ones that have been put together, and these were machine sewn. So but what our goal is for the month of January and basically during the winter months is to try and come up with on the couch crafts. Crafts that are productive, like things that you can make and sell while you're watching TV. Things that are easy, that you don't need a lot of supplies to make them with. So last night I sat and made 20 of these. So you do not have to machine sew these. So when you are on the couch, you would need a needle and thread, in whatever color, a pair of little trimming scissors, and if you are using buttons, some buttons and some pearls or beads or whatever you're using. So for these, I didn't machine stitch. I hand stitched these and hand stitched the beads and the pearls right on there. So these are just some samples of, they basically look the same way if you're stitching them or if you are machine sewing them. So and it's whatever fabrics, patterns, or colors. They don't have to be fabrics and laces. They could be patterns. So it's whatever you want. And again, these are very productive items if you are planning to sell these in your shop or to add them into your journals. Again, this is a great on the couch craft. So basically, I take my little bucket of laces and just scraps that I have. If you've seen my previous video on our vintage fabric haul, you've seen that we have gotten tons of laces, etc. from a recent fabric haul. So let's get started here. So you're just basically going to take little pieces of scrap fabrics. And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't matter. These just happen to be ones that we sell. So we make the fabric and lace ones. Okay, so we're just going to be taking a few little pieces of whatever. So take out your laces, whatever. This just happens to be coffee dyed fabric. So this is a coffee dyed eyelet fabric that was white. These two. So, and you can use, this was purchased on a large roll at Hobby Lobby. This is actually a pretty stiff lace. It looks soft, but it's a pretty stiff lace. So this is good actually to use as a base. Or you can use tulle. This was also purchased on a roll at Hobby Lobby. So this is just basic plain white tulle. And this was a clearance in the scrap aisle. This is a tulle fabric, but this is actually a thicker type tulle that's on a bolt. So this was on a clearance aisle. I got a whole yard for $1.49. So the clearance aisles at fabric stores, Hobby Lobbies, and Joann's are great ways to get really good deals. So otherwise, this would have been $8.99 a yard. So pretty good deal. And this is a knit crochet vintage tablecloth that I use and just chop up for our snippet rolls. Okay, so what we're going to do here, I'm going to take a few fabrics here just to show you. I am going to use this base tulle I mean, I just use it as a base. It's whatever, you could use whatever, absolutely whatever you want. So, so I'm going to snip off a little bit of this white satin. I'm just going to tear it off. This is so hard to tear. Anyway, for time's sake, I'm just going to cut it. Okay, so we have a few little pieces of fabric here. I'm going to take my eyelet fabric, just give it a little snip here, and I'm just going to tear it. And these are great money-making items to sell because these are very popular. So you can make a lot of these while you're watching TV, and these are a great profitable way to make money. You can use them for your journals. Okay, so we're just going to take a few pieces. We're just going to eyeball how they look, right? So we have our base here. I'm going to take a little piece of my fabric here. I'm just going to tear it. This is just basically, this is a coffee dyed cotton fabric. So we could just take this, we can add it on the bottom, and you just eyeball how you want it to look. So you could offset the pieces. They don't have to be exactly straight. So you can see the different colors. Okay, so I am going to use a another little piece of, I think I'm just going to use, I had a piece of this vintage lace that I had gotten. So I'm going to cut a little piece of this. These aren't very tear-friendly fabrics, so I'm just going to randomly cut a piece. And if you want to cut, you can spend one night pre-cutting all of your little pieces, put them in a bowl or a basket, so this way the next night you can come and sit and get started. So that's always a good option because I've done that in the past too. So we have our pieces so far, right? So we have 4 pieces. So generally these 2 pieces are thicker fabrics. You know, this might be a little thick, but that's okay because, so I'm going to offset, I'm going to do the white and the brown. And then I'm going to add my vintage doily, eyelet fabric, excuse me. And then I'm going to add my other fabric on here. So now I have I'm going to grab a needle and thread, just basic white. It's basically, everything's getting stuck. Love this little ring pin cushion. Okay, so now show you how to do a French knot here. Okay, so here, I don't know if you guys could see, we have our needle here in one hand, and then you're going to create a little tail. See here? And then you're going to place your needle on top of your finger here, just like that. See? And then you're going to grab the tail here, keeping the tail out in between. So everything's now in one hand. You're going to take a little bit here. And because this thread is thinner, usually if you are working with like embroidery thread, you're only going to do a few wraps. But since this is a just a basic thread, you'd wrap it probably about 8 times, because the more you wrap it, the bigger your knot's going to be. And don't wrap too tight, because remember, you are going to have to pull this down. So now what you're going to do, you have it wrapped. See, you have it wrapped right there. And now you're going to take your little tail, pull it up. So now your tail is up here. Right? Your tail is up here, facing up. And you have your wound thread is underneath your thumb here. Because now what you're going to do is you're going to take your needle, push it through a little bit, right? So now everything, like I said, is in this one underneath, tucked underneath this thumb. Grab your needle and keep your thumb down on top of the thread that you just have wound. And now you're going to keep holding on to this needle, and this is still with your wound thread. So now you're going to pull with your right hand, you're going to pull that knot You're going to pull and pull and pull. And now you have a little knot right here on the end. Okay? And you don't need it to be too big because you're just sewing through your fabrics, and you're going to sew it a few times. So I cut off the little tail, some of the little tail that was there. Okay, so now you're sitting on the couch, right? And you have your fabrics all set up. You are ready to go. And just give a couple stitches. I should have made the thread shorter for viewing. So we're just going to take a couple, I'm going to just do one more through here. So if you are not machine stitching, if you are hand stitching, you would stitch across, not all the way across, but you would stitch along the way here to give it, to make it just a little more sturdy. But for this sake, I'm going to be eventually machine stitching this, but I'll show you. So you're just going to stitch along, assuming that you're not going to machine stitch. You're just going to keep sewing along. And there's no science to this. You're just stitching. These are easy. I like easy. I don't like to think too hard about this stuff. Okay, so we did about 5 stitches through, and we did about a 1/4 inch length in between each stitch. So, and that doesn't even matter either. So we have our little cluster, right? So we're going to flip our cluster over. Okay, and then take your needle and pull it through your fabric, right? You're going to pull it right through your fabric, just like that, as if you're going to tie it. And then now, before you pull the loop fully through, see, you don't have to stick your thumb in there, usually it's fine, but just to show you, you have a loop here. Before you do that, stick your needle inside the loop, pull it through, and now you're creating a knot. And then that knot is pretty good. Okay, so we're going to snip off our thread, and you have your cluster. So now if you are going to be adding buttons or beads, we're going to do another French knot. Do another one so we can put our beads and you can always glue your fabrics, because I wanted to give you guys that option too. So we're going to do our French knot. We're going to pull it through again. Our tail is still up here and everything's still under our thumb here. We're going to just pull everything right through. And then we have our knot, right? Okay, so picking out your beads. So for when I'm making mine, I just, these are going in journals, so we can't really go crazy with adding too much stuff. So we try to keep the beads, the same height as the actual button. So we're kind of keeping it as flat as possible. So it's all up to you. You can do, if you're adding them or if you're just making them, you can also put these on gifts. If you're wrapping a gift for like a shower, if you're putting it on a ribbon, when you're tying the ribbon, add a pretty little cluster, right? These are also good to add onto favors. You can put a little gift tag here and make these little place setting favors. So it's whatever you want to do. Okay, so I'm going to pick a couple of, we'll pick a couple buttons here. These are all vintage buttons. That's from another vintage estate sale. So I'm going to pick a couple buttons here and a bead, right? So these buttons, let me see. These buttons, I want to get ones that have the 2 holes in it, because you have to sew 4 holes. It's kind of like too much. All right, so let's pick this one button here, and then we'll show you. Okay, so we did our knot. Just going to take our needle and we're going to thread it right through. Okay, that's our first pass. I'm going to do another one just to make sure we are securing it. Again, you can hot glue these buttons. You don't have to sew. You don't have to sew any of this. I'll show you another option in a second. Okay, so now I'm going to just come through here. Right here, we're just going to come right through again, right next to the button, right? I'm just going to take a little bead and stick the bead through the needle here, right? Stick it right through here and close to the button. We're going to stick it right through. And then, there you go. You have one bead. Let's do another one. Okay, so now I'm going to come back up here again. And I'm going to add another, I keep saying bead, I mean pearls. Sorry, guys. Okay, so we're gonna add another pearl to this. Again, we're gonna come right close to where the button is so they can sit and rest right next to each other. So we're gonna come right next to the button here, right? I'm going to pull it. You can pull it pretty tight. See, so now we have our button and our 2 little pearls. So now we're going to go through the back here again. So we're going to do holding our button and our pearls on the other side. We're holding them here just so they stay, you know, pretty tight. So we're going to sew it through again. Right? And then before you close the knot, before you tie it, we'll put it through the eye, through the hole, and then make another knot, the same as we did before. Okay, there you have it. You have a fabric cluster. These are great in your journals. Perfect. They're pretty and they're so versatile. Like I said, you can use these, add these to favors. You can add them to gifts, your journals, your snippet rolls. You can add them if you are decorating, if you wanted to decorate a cute little envelope to make a gift, you can add them to an envelope, right? How pretty is that? And then you could wrap up your little envelope. You could put it here. So these are perfect for just about anything. So just to show you an example that not everything is in the world of brown and white. So this is our fall journal that we made fall clusters for. And we use them in our journal. So we made these. We didn't add any beads or buttons, but I did use the bottom lace because I do like the lace, the stiffer lace on the bottom because it gives it a little more foundation. But see, the colors are beautiful. They don't have to be brown and white. You can make them for any occasion. You can make these for baby showers if you're using them as favors. See? And I just happen to use black thread to offset the busy patterns. So they're great in journals. This happens to be a kit. That's why they're just kind of like all over the place. So let's see. We use them in here too. This is just 2 pieces of, but you can use them for whatever you want, and they're very versatile. So if you have any comments or questions, you have any ideas, please let us know. Oh, also, I just wanted to share, we had a vintage haul video a few days ago, and I wanted to show you this scarf. This was purchased yesterday at a thrift store. I don't know if you could see it here. This is just a plain scarf. It was purchased for $1 yesterday, but look how beautiful. These are like little sequins, lace, and this scarf will definitely be going real soon into our next clusters. So you can find some really great things at Goodwill stores, estate sales. I've linked the estate sale website for you guys to check it out. They're for everybody's local area. Just type in your zip code, type in the miles that you are willing to travel, and you can get basic estate sales in your area. So thank you so much for watching, and I will be talking to you again real soon, because we are going to be making yo-yo flowers. So this is going to be sit on the couch week. So we are going to be making flowers that you can sit on the couch and make, and yes, and you can sell. So the whole object is to get you guys inspired. We're spending a lot of time inside this time of year, so why not make some beautiful items that you can actually sell, right? So again, thank you for watching, and I'll be talking to you real soon. Take care.